back to another episode of the Video Game Vibes podcast, a special episode today. I'm of course PatriotJax, and we have Grog Games of course with us, but we have sort of two parts of Grog Games. You know, we always have Super Potion with us, but we have a special guest in Gobs.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we've got the whole faction here today for the channel. I know.
That's kind of where I want to start as well. Like,
yeah,
that's where the Grog Games channel come from. So break it down for us, where it started.
Oh my gosh, Gobs, where do we even start with that? So
I don't know, man.
I know the day we started uploading was April 1st of 2018.
Why do you know that?
Because I know that. Because I always remembered, I was like, people won't believe that April 1st is our channelversary because it's, you know, April Fool's Day.
Yeah. I thought it was a joke too, so.
Yeah. I mean, our channel is a joke. So. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just convinced you to start uploading videos. I was like,
I think we wanted to do it.
Yeah, we wanted to do it. I think I always wanted to just be creative, and I was like, if I could play video games, be creative with it. And I was like, I'd rather do that with my real life brother than by myself, because I was personally like, I'm much better now at talking to the camera and talking to people and like live streaming and stuff. When I first started, I was like, I need him here because I am gonna be like the side of the channel that is like more strict, like isn't funny, like he's the comic relief, and I'm the guy that like is a little bit funny and keeps us on schedule. Is what my first process was.
I mean,
have we talked about that before?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was also the one that could beat the games, though.
That's so freaking true. Okay. So, Jax, I think I've told you a little bit about Undertale and how I've technically beaten Undertale, right?
Yeah, technically. You use that word like...
I say technically.
Is it neutral route, if you like?
Well, okay. Yeah, so we decided to play Undertale early on the channel. And because everyone had played I knew nothing about it. Yeah, right. I was like, that's a solid game.
That game stayed popular and like trending like 3 years after it came out. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's like evergreen content pretty much. Is like, oh hey, a popular game that people can come back and be like, this person played this game, whatever. Point is, we played Undertale. I was so bad, dude. So bad.
You also ruined the run. Let's be honest. Right away.
Oh, did you?
That was not my fault.
You don't remember that?
Oh, was it you killed Toriel or something by accident?
Yeah.
He did.
Ah, there it is.
He did. I was so disappointed in him.
I was upset too, frankly. So, I wasn't happy about it. But basically, Gobs beat all the Undertale bosses. All the hard ones. You beat Undyne. You beat.
You really struggled.
Flowey at the end in the neutral. Yeah. Did I even beat Papyrus? I don't even know if I beat.
I don't think so.
So let's face it, Gobs was like the heavy lifting on the games.
Yeah.
There were times when we were doing Let's Plays where I was just like, I can't do it. Here's the controls.
Because I remember one Let's Play I think I watched. Was it Shovel Knight? You guys played Shovel Knight?
Yeah, we did play Shovel Knight.
I was gonna say I remember watching that. That was good. That was good stuff. I recommend, guys. You know.
Oh god, that's such old content.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we just got busy as adults and stuff, and like.
Yeah, I just didn't have time to edit things.
Yeah,
honestly.
and I didn't want to force him to,
I understand that significantly.
I mean, we've talked about you just coming on sometimes, whenever.
I mean, I'll show up sometimes.
I think we've just been busy, but we need to start getting you on the channel, maybe every once in a while or something.
If you do Baldur's Gate playthrough.
Oh god, a playthrough? Well.
You're in the outro, to be fair. I mean, that's a significant part of every
true.
video.
You're still in every outro. Have you seen our outros?
It's a good outro. I like
still
it.
The same.
Here it is right now. It's muted, but it's essentially the outro was that one silly time. I don't even know what game we were playing, but we were taking a break. We were in your living room, and you just started playing your guitar, and I started dancing to it, and it was stupid, and I edited it.
Oh, okay.
That's still the outro, and then sometimes I mute the outro music.
Okay.
So sometimes it's your regular guitar playing, and other times I mute it and put like a video game song to it. Because it's stupid.
It's a good outro. No. I struggle with intros and outros, and that's sort of a mainstay. No. It's good.
I
It's good
appreciate
stuff.
that, Jax.
It's good stuff.
I'm just glad I still make an appearance.
Yeah, no. It's probably really funny because I'm sure some people like who haven't seen some of the older content we do, if they get to the end of the video, they're like, "Who the heck is that guy?"
Is that his editor?
Is there a secret man also filming somewhere?
I'm just always in the background in your camera.
Yeah. You'll just pop in one time and we just won't mention it.
Yeah.
But just for today, we're going to be deep diving into Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
And sort of just touching on sort of game of the year, because the results should be coming out relatively close to when this episode drops for you guys. But as neither myself nor Super Potion, because I'll call you Grog Games. It feels weird because it's both.
Yeah,
of
no,
you
can say Grog. It's fine.
Neither of us have sort of put any. Oh, for me, I haven't put any hours into Baldur's Gate 3. I've watched a lot, and I've obviously done a lot of research and stuff, but I haven't played it because I don't have the time. We have Gobs, who has, is it over 300 plus hours?
Yep, over 300 hours in it.
Someone who is well versed in Baldur's Gate 3, who can
very much
help us, inform us why it will likely be this year's Game of the Year.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some fun interview questions and the like. It'll be a good time. But really quick before that, Jax, we got to do our normal little catch up for a couple of minutes. Okay. Jax, what happened to you this week?
What happened?
Anything important?
That sounds ominous.
Any video game?
Ominous.
What the heck happened to you?
What the heck happened? Jax? I just fell off. It happens. No, I've gotten back into Devil May Cry 5. I'm trying to beat that this year. I'm still trying to beat Tears of the Kingdom. I'm like very close to the story, like the story, not 100%, but like the story mode of that. So I'm very close to beating both of those, and that'll be like a lot of my list for this year of like games to complete. So I'll be happy enough with that. But I was talking the other day to my wife, and I was sitting there going, I was like, I need to make like a spreadsheet of games that I want my son to play, like, to start with growing up.
Dude, I thought about this too.
He's only like one, but I was sitting there going, I was like, okay, so Ocarina of Time, like that's got to be on there. I'm sitting there thinking about like other games and stuff that I played. I was like, okay, Splatoon, when he starts to want to play some competitive stuff, but keep it.
Yep. Okay.
Splatoon's good. So keep it on the Switch, because that's probably one of the first consoles he's going to end up playing, is probably the Switch.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have a think about some games. If you have any recommendations.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a think for you as well. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm like, just Mario, classic platformer. Pokemon. Is that too hard? You're right. Hold on.
Yeah,
Pokemon Crystal, I think, would be a great one.
Jax, have you done the test yet? The starter test? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I've done a video. Yeah, I've got a video. So we went into our Smith's toy store, and I got the three plushies out, the Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur.
Have you heard of this?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a trend on TikTok for like millennial parents, if you like, who for their kids. And they just put all the toys on the ground of the starter Pokemon, and the baby crawls over to one of them. And so he picked the right one. He picked Squirtle, and I was so happy because I'm like, Pokemon Blue. No. Squirtle is the correct choice.
Good. Yeah.
Top, low, no, that's my worst. Sorry. Anyway, no, good.
Wait. Were you about to say that Squirtle is your least favorite starter?
Out of Gen 1 it is.
Oh,
Come on, everyone knows Bulbasaur is like. Come
Bulbasaur slaps. Charmander's best pick.
on. Charmander's just everyone's pick. Like, come on, like. It's just an easy option.
No.
Let's not get let's not get into Brock and stuff. Let's not dive into that. What have you been doing? Where have you been this week, SP? What have you been doing?
Yeah, I had a weird week this week. Well, first off, my camera died, and I had to use my backup camera, which was terrible. So this week I got a new camera. Do I look better today? By the way, this is 1080p. It should be better.
I'll let you know on the final recording. I'm not.
Okay, cool.
I'm getting some pixels. It might be the focus. To be fair, it might be the focus.
Yeah, it is.
There's two of you.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. But yeah, I got a new camera this week. I only worked 3 days this week. I did a bad thing, Jax. I did a bad thing.
Don't self-report.
It's fine. No one's gonna find out. So apparently, I had a very RuneScape filled week this week, and I'll let me just explain briefly what happened to me. So last week I found out that there's this thing for RuneScape membership that happens every 2 years. It's like the RuneScape Olympics. It's called Leagues, and basically it's a sped up version of RuneScape. So you go on these certain worlds. You don't have to make a new account or anything, but when you log on to these worlds, you start over from a new account, and everything is sped up to like 5 or 8 or 12 times experience gain, and you also get additional buffs on top of that. So you can get a buff that's like pickpocket guys automatically and you never fail. And like when you do one fire making skill, it makes 9 fires instead of 1. And like basically it's a race to see who can get to endgame, and there's a high score list.
Oh, okay.
So I just found out about this, and the league lasts 8 weeks. So this is done in December. So there's only like 54 days left of the league. And basically you're just trying to rush your character get to endgame pretty much.
How long would an average run take in this sped up
RuneScape?
No, of like this sped up version.
Oh god.
That's a great question.
Well, the people that are really good, because this is like
how much time off work you taking?
I'm still a noob. I still barely know what I'm doing. But like some of the hardcore people, like will go ahead and plan out their route before the game even starts, and because the actual RuneScape company says like, okay, these are going to be the perks. These are going to be the tasks that to get points to get the perks. So people are like, okay, if I do this here and I do this here and I do this here, what's the maximum efficiency to get to perk tier 5 or whatever the fastest? So it's a big deal. I on day 3 I did hear some people were getting close to endgame. So yeah, okay. It's a lot.
I'm surprised it takes that long.
For Rune, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
if it's sped up, it still takes 3 days.
I left out a lot of details, but yes, yes, it does. It does. But that's what I was doing, Jax, and okay. I'm doing okay. It's good. Good RuneScape filled week.
So, Gobs, what have you been doing this week? What have you been playing?
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
This week specifically.
This week in particular, I have essentially only been playing Age of Empires 4. I'm having a great time. They dropped a new DLC. I get to be the Byzantines. It's been fantastic.
Now, I was never an Age of Empires. Is that new? Like that a new Age of Empires 4?
That's the newest Age of Empires, yeah. But it still came out a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still been a few years, but it's their first DLC that they're releasing.
Okay.
So it's a fun time, and I'm terrible at it. I've been trying to play online.
You're not terrible at it.
Okay, I'm not terrible at it. I'm not good enough to play online and ranked at all.
I mean,
I lose every single game. I have no idea how. It's very upsetting.
Ranked is like a huge ordeal. Like you have to be only playing this game, and also strategy games are their own beast. Like the people that play strategy games ranked are different than people that play.
Oh yeah, they're like different class. Like when they talk about PC Elite, it's definitely strategy stuff. I enjoyed a bit of Command and Conquer back in the day, a bit of Warcraft 3, but nowhere near the level that people would do that in like an e-sport or anything.
Just really quick. So I was up till like 2 last night, and right before I went to bed, I was on YouTube just looking stuff up. At 2 in the morning, I know it because obviously I'm in America, that's different. But there's an esports podcast. There's an esports like broadcast going on for League of Legends at 2:30 in the morning, and I was watching this live stream for like 3 minutes, and there's 430,000 people watching this League of Legends.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, yeah, not being in the esports space, you forget like how popular that stuff is. Because I have zero interest in esports, like at all. It just
Really?
I don't watch competitive stuff at all, and even all of the games, the most like competitive games, I'm not that into. Like I like Rocket League. I'm not gonna watch like the esports championship or anything. I don't play Valorant. I barely play Call of Duty. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just not my thing. You know, if they made
Devil's advocate. You are into football.
Okay, I am. Okay, that's true. That's true. I still play FIFA 23 though, so I don't play the new because I refuse to give EA any more of my money. So I play FIFA 23 and that career mode, and that's it. They shut down the servers, so I can't play online anyway. Luckily, I don't play online, but that's not the point. I think we should move on. I don't want to talk about EA. You know.
Yeah, don't go into that.
Yeah,
I could rant for a while about EA.
Oh yeah. Should we get into Baldur's Gate?
Start on Baldur's Gate. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's we have a few questions prepared for Gobs here, of course.
I'm excited.
And we're just gonna chat about it and get into it. So before we get into our questions, at this point in time, just to confirm for the podcast, we said that you had 300 hours in it. Have you beaten the game? And if so, how many times? How long did it take? Any details about that?
Probably 300 plus hours.
What?
Yeah, I have not beaten it.
Oh, wow.
So, okay. To be fair, out of the 300, 100 of them was like before release, so it was early access, and that was just to figure out what character I was going to make.
Okay.
Wow.
So I played every single type of character, every class, got them all to at least level 3 to 5, and I got because at 5 is when it really branches out a lot. Your character gets a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
I could go into it. I don't know how much you want to hear, but basically that's when you get to like the details of each class. So I wanted to make sure I knew what character I was going to play because I love the game so much. And even just early access, finishing like that section, probably 20 hours. Like, and it was only
just to get to level 5 with each character.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is some next level prep though, to do 100 hours in early access for the like. That is impressive, I have to say.
It's even sadder because I did it all in 1 week. Like,
you must have taken a week off work.
Nope, I just didn't sleep. It was fun.
Brilliant.
And just for the podcast viewers, and Jax, if you had, through your research, if you know this answer as well, how long was the game in early access? Because I thought I read that it was in access for a few number of years, and they worked with the community to improve it over time, right? When did you start playing early access, and like, was it right before the game came out, or?
Yeah,
Or how much do you know about that as well?
Yeah, so it was in early access for, I think it was like 2 or 3 years. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it was 3 years, yeah.
I heard that too. Okay, I just didn't know that.
But the entire time they were getting feedback from people playing it.
Yeah.
And so they took everything into account. They listened to everyone the whole time. How they actually developed the game was fantastic. Like, I've never played a game where it seemed like the creators cared as much as they did with Baldur's Gate, I think.
Yeah. That's important.
And I don't know how, but they magically were able to take Dungeons and Dragons and do a 1-to-1 essentially to a video game, which is crazy.
I don't know if it's been done before, right?
It's been attempted.
It's been attempted.
Oh, okay.
But they did such a good job that like I've DM'd a little bit for Dungeons and Dragons. It's 1-to-1. There's only a few different changes in rules, but like you're also encouraged to be creative with how you play it. Like,
right.
It's fantastic. I don't know. Can't recommend it high enough.
I was just gonna go onto the D&D side of things. So have you played Dungeons and Dragons much before, like at all?
Yeah. So I have played some. I wish I could play more, but every group that I get together, by the time you're all level 3, everybody's like forgotten how to make a schedule at all. So it's just it never works.
Stuff.
Yeah,
we've played before.
Yeah, we played before.
One of those groups was one of the groups that we tried.
Yep.
Not our fault.
Nope.
for it falling apart. But you know, I mean, it was always fun. You always were pretty creative with D&D sessions.
Yeah.
I still remember Ladder Guy. Was the best.
Ladder Guy.
Yeah, Jax, Ladder Guy. It was a reference to a YouTube series called Duralius and Associates. But essentially, Gobs bought a ladder because in D&D you can buy random stuff. Like there is a full backstory thing. Like of course the DM can change it and they can probably make it where like they can sell you whatever they want. But there's also a physical list. This was on a physical list, so someone someone on 5e who made the actual D&D rules had thought about this at some point. He bought a ladder for like 15 silver or something like that. Which in the beginning
is
was
that
like
expensive?
Okay. In the beginning it is.
It's a lot of money.
It was, yeah, you only get like 50 to start or something.
Yeah, it was
depending on your
money.
backstory and all of that. But
Okay.
he bought a ladder and then he just started using it in combat. So like he started like putting it down and then climbing up. So then he had a view over everyone and he had like advantage throws and stuff.
Yeah, I was a ranger, so I could use it to like get on top of roofs.
He just used it.
And I'd shoot down from on a roof. It was great.
And at one point it broke, and then someone else in our group just used mending on it, and it was fine.
I would also use it as like a bridge to cross over chasms.
Oh yeah, because it's 15 feet.
Man.
It's like...
Always have a ladder, man.
Always
It's a
have a
great
ladder.
time.
Always have a ladder.
I mean, it seems like a good idea. Like I know next to nothing about it, but like that just seems like a creative way to get around, and for for an archer, it must be great. I mean, I don't know how you're carrying it on your back, but fair play. You might as well just have like someone else carry it on their back, and you're just at the top the whole time.
Oh yeah.
See, that could have been great character development later on. Oh my gosh.
We would have gotten there eventually, yeah.
So I think we'll go into our first questions here, which I think this is a great first question about just talking about D&D. So, for the average gamer, this game may seem a tad bit intimidating. I know for myself, even having D&D experience, it seems intimidating just to start. So for the casual gamer who hasn't played like a strategy game like this before, how does one get into it? Or what do you think Baldur's Gate does well in regards to making it accessible to the everyday person?
I think they do a really good job of, one, there's different ways, or different, I guess, difficulties in the game, right? And one of them is meant for casual players who have never played before.
Oh, okay.
I think that one's even called casual. But essentially, everything's easier. You go into it, you could probably get through the entire game without using any spells. Just hit stuff and walk through, right? Oh. And that's mostly meant for, like, either you have no idea what you're doing and you just want to learn, or you're just here for the story, which is also another fair point. So they have that. But I would also say there's a learning curve if you want to actually take it a little more seriously.
Yeah.
But I think they do a really good job of giving you time to figure it out, and then also the initial combat in the game is pretty simple, but it also does a good job of letting you explore your skills that you get. So
okay.
And they also there's ways to interact with the environment as well too, which could probably confuse people, but you get a handle of it once the enemy kills you that way.
Oh yeah, and you're like, oh, it's so
you're like, oh, I can set that on fire. I see. Okay, that's an explosive.
Oh, he did that,
barrel.
So I should be able to do that too, right?
Yep, exactly. So they do a pretty good job, and I would, yeah, I think anyone could play it for sure.
Is the tutorial pretty easy too? Like, is there like, I don't know, in normal Jax, like regular video game tutorials, like there'll be speech bubbles that pop up and stuff like that. Is it like that in the beginning as well to help new players?
Yeah. So I believe they have combat tips that you can turn off.
Okay.
So it lets you know things as you go, and you can turn those on or off depending on if you want to relearn. But yeah, they do give you hints on what you're supposed to do with some things. So,
and I do find that sometimes tutorials, or mainly just like the sort of the first phase of games, can kind of, at least for me, determine whether I'm actually going to stick at this game or not. So it's not like a monotonous tutorial. It's not too slow paced and would sort of take you out of it, if you like, because like SP said, it's like it can be quite daunting. I think that's part of it for me, is that, like, say you've sunk 300 hours into it. I don't know if I could have the time to do that.
Yeah.
But the intro and stuff is it won't take me away from it going forward.
No.
Yeah.
No, it definitely wouldn't. It actually feels like you're already in the game, even though you're doing the tutorial. And you're also able to do it as fast as you want. So when I would make new characters, I'd just blaze through it real quick. But if you want, you can take your time, explore it's a ship, right? Going through hell.
That's the intro?
Yeah, that's the tutorial, is you're on a ship going through hell. So,
Great start.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start. You feel right in the story right away.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Just to touch on the story, like narratively, compared to some of the we could talk about some of the other like game of the year ones, but in terms of like some of the best story games and narratives you've played, how does it compare to some of the ones that you've played in recent years?
That's a good question. So I like the story. It made me want to continue. I wouldn't say it's the most original story ever, because they do take a lot of things from Dungeons and Dragons.
Right,
if I had to say a better one, is actually another Larian Studios game. I played Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
That story is fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd say it's a very good story, but I'm not going to say it's the best story I've played through in a video game.
I did hear Divinity Original Sin 2 was a very, very, very good game.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
And you would say like Larian Studios, I forgot Larian Studios made that, but they definitely gained some experience with Baldur's Gate from making that game, right? Because Divinity is very similar to D&D already, right? So they had a lot of experience with moving that transitionally when making Baldur's Gate 3, you'd say, right?
Yep, definitely. So it's Divinity Original Sin 2 was very influenced, I would say, by Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of the spells are kind of similar. The turn-based movement style, everything about it. Inventories, how you could interact with the environment. I mean, it's all very similar. And they just kind of took what they learned with that game and they perfected it in Baldur's Gate. So
with the community's help, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool to see, because like I would hate. I mean, I'm sure like they definitely made sure that the rights to Baldur's Gate went to the right people, and I'm just glad that happened. Jax, do you want to ask Gobs the next question in our lineup here?
So how well does Baldur's Gate 3 translate the D&D experience into a video game? We've sort of touched on it before, but could you see it being done for other tabletop games?
Yeah, and I mean, Larian would do a good job with, I think, anything that they make. But it has been attempted for other ones. I know I've played Pathfinder, which is very D&D-esque type game.
Yeah, it's like a restricted version of D&D with less rules. You're talking tabletop Pathfinder?
I think, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if there's less rules. I haven't played the tabletop version of that, but I have played a Pathfinder game on my PC.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were talking about the tabletop version.
No.
Jax, if you didn't know, there are a lot of versions of D&D.
Yeah.
We're on.
Yeah.
How much do you know about the versions of D&D, Jax?
I know that there's just a lot of different, or people have a lot of different rules for different, different strokes for different folks. People play it their own way. Is there like official and unofficial versions, or is there?
Yeah, so you're sort of describing homebrewing is the term used by D&D people.
Okay. Appropriate for your channel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, basically, like you have the set rules of D&D, and then you can homebrew to make sure that certain aspects work with that. So, like, you could make a class that doesn't exist, and that would be homebrewing. You're making your own class using rules that are in the regular D&D rules. You make your own campaign. That's homebrewing. But apart from that, the base rules for D&D, there has been... Oh, God, I'm going to get this wrong, but I know we're on 5e. I don't know how many letters of each version there are. I'm not that in-depth. I'm not that much of a D&D buff that I know the history of it. But there has been multiple versions, probably like, I don't know, at least over 10 versions of D&D over time. But yeah, right now we're on 5e and Pathfinder. What were you saying about that?
you got real off topic.
I did get real off
Also, you shouldn't equate Pathfinder and D&D. People are going to be upset.
Oh, is that a big no-no? See,
Yeah.
Jax, even I don't know.
People are going to be mad.
Just out of curiosity, how many tabletop games have you guys played? Because I'm not someone that uses that term a lot, and because I still use the term, and this is probably just because I'm not in that sort of realm, so I still think of I call them board games, and that's how I term games with a board. I guess.
I would say the difference is tabletop doesn't necessarily have to have a board. So no, you're right.
Yeah.
D&D, you don't need a board. You can have, everyone has their own character sheet, and you don't necessarily have to have a board or a tabletop. You don't, but it helps visualize it. So some people like playing with or without it. Just briefly, my experience. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Jax, but I was the president of Tactical Gaming Club in high school. So I didn't play D&D. Well, I did play D&D a couple times there before I was president. But when when I was president, I played similar games to D&D. I actually made up my own board game that was pretty much D&D with its own set of rules. I was a huge nerd. But in regards to nowadays, I would say Gobs has more experience than me with tabletop gaming, right?
Yeah, probably. I played D&D. I think I played Pathfinder once. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've also played a decent amount of Gloomhaven, which is a great game.
But like even besides that, like you get together and play tabletop more, like you play of Hill House and like like that.
That's a great game too.
That's fun. See, I wish I had that sort of network of people to be interested in doing it.
Yeah.
I try and sit people down to play like Atmosphere. It's a board game.
I've never heard of that one.
It's like, so you have like I suppose it was originally a video, and then it was a DVD to go with it. But basically, there's this creepy guy on the screen who kind of dictates what goes on, kind of like a game master, I guess. And he tells you what you to do. You have to collect sort of 6 keys, and there's some combat stuff involved. It's really good, actually. I've done a whole video talking about it, so feel free to check it out. I'm just saying.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to watch that later. What the heck? I've always heard of that. About like board games where you put in the DVD and you have to pause it at certain times.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I've heard that a little bit.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
it's like to be fair, I was introduced when I was like 8, and I was so scared of the guy because he was called like the gatekeeper, and he was like cloaked in black, and they gave him like green eyes and stuff, and you have like 49 minutes to beat him. Essentially, you have to beat him, and that's right. Everyone writes their fear in and puts it in the well of fears, and then you have to.
Oh my god!
But when you have all the keys, you have to get to the middle and read out your own fear. And that's really good. Yeah, it's a really good game.
I would play that in
Check
a heartbeat.
Atmosphere with an F. Atmosphere. Yeah, really good.
Ooh, fun.
But yeah, It's good fun. Sorry, off track, but that's as close to tabletop, I guess, as I'm gonna get.
Yeah, for sure. So like in regards, let's talk a little bit more about tabletop and the mechanics that Baldur's Gate does. So Gobs, you said earlier that like pretty much you can do whatever you want in the game, which is of course the essence of D&D, one would argue. Can you go into a little more detail about? You don't necessarily have to go into great detail about what each little mechanic does, but a little more detail about how it works and the turn-based combat with that and the environment and everything.
Yeah. So something that everybody likes talking about is how much verticality in the game there is.
I have heard that.
And there are spells that push people. So essentially, one really fun thing to do is run up to a goblin. And there's an action that's just push, and you just shove them off a building, and that like kills them halfway, depending how tall the building is.
Yeah. How high up you are. Yeah.
Yeah. It all depends on how high up you are.
Yeah.
There's spells that you can get really creative with, like ways to interact. You can shoot web, and then if you have a special item, you can just walk across it, whereas the enemy will get stuck. Things like that. Basically, as creative as you want to get. I know there's some people that get really ridiculous, and I think it was they collected all of the explosive bombs in the starting area, and they killed every enemy up to I think there's a large goblin encampment, but they killed every single enemy in that entire fight by shooting one barrel that chain reacted like 50 other barrels and killed everything. So they didn't even fight anybody. Everyone just died. It was just nuts. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I had seen a couple TikToks where I think it was like, because you can pick up like just crates and like random objects like that, and someone picked up like 50 crates and then made it so his character just stood on all 50 crates and then pushed something off of it, and it just fell and did like times 18 damage or something because it was falling from such a great height that it killed like the boss instantly or something like that.
Yeah.
You can do random stuff all like that all the time.
Yeah. I think it was Matt Mercer too who broke the game because he did that same exact thing. He stacked like 100 boxes, climbed on top of all of them. Then he teleported himself with an arrow into like the final boss room way before he was supposed to be there or something. It was like he did some nuts thing, and Larian was just like, "What are you doing?"
Is he?
We didn't account for that.
Is he a voice actor in Baldur's Gate 3?
Matt Mercer, no. He's he's a very famous DM. Or is it Critical Role? Is that what it's called?
Critical
Role, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a popular Dungeons and Dragons show, but he is a voice actor in a lot of things,
Yeah,
like every other video
stuff,
game. Yeah.
In Cyberpunk.
Yep.
Yeah. No, Matt Mercer's the goat.
Ganondorf
it's
in
crazy how
Zelda.
you can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
What if he gets casted as Ganondorf in the live action? That'd be crazy.
I forgot about that. We might have to save that for another video, but I'm excited. That'll be interesting.
Matt Mercer's the right guy.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I don't know how things. Anyway, I just meant he had the voice. I guess if he could get buff if he wanted to.
It's a lot of CGI.
Moving on. CGI Matt Mercer. Well, he get bulky armor. Come on now. Anyway, so this obviously you put a large amount of hours in this game. What makes this game so replayable in regards to after the first game going back and essentially having a different experience? Like, how can you just talk a little bit about the branching pathways and everything that could happen to you, or like, can you do certain actions and then you essentially like lose a party member and stuff like that? Like, is that all add up to the replayability factor that the game has?
Definitely. Okay, so the thing that makes you want to keep playing it over and over again is how much weight every single decision you make has. So you know how I said I spent 100 hours in early access?
Yeah.
And I made probably 20 characters just to test them all.
So many.
Every single character, just in early access, had different things happen every single time.
Really?
Every single time. So
Wow.
I never even felt like it was stale. Like after playing it for 100 hours just in early access, which is a small portion of the game, brand new stuff happened every single time. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, when am I going to get the same thing to happen again? Conversations were different. Like, it was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, oh, it just got me more and more excited for the game.
Oh.
So, and the entire game's like that. It's all the choices you make matter. It influences how people talk to you, what you're doing, quests. It's absolutely crazy. It's fantastic.
That's nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know it was to that extent.
Oh, it is.
I do wonder how many hours to see like literally everything, like full completion.
Oh my God.
Like, that
no one is ever going to do it.
I was going to say that
think.
must be like absolutely insane. You know?
Yeah, there's, I forget what the number is, but there's like 13,000 different endings technically.
Oh my
What?
Lord.
Yep. Because every branching choice made it something different happen. So there's technically that many endings of the game.
Okay.
It's
God,
absolutely
that's
insane.
just-
Yeah, they did an interview with the writers, and they're like, obviously there's going to be a lot of overlap between those 13,000 endings, right? But there is technically 13,000 different written endings. And they're just like, yeah, it took us absolutely forever to do all this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is
I
nuts.
can't even imagine.
Again, though, it shows the level of care, and I do think
Commitment, yeah.
I do think it plays a decent amount of role in people's voting when it comes to stuff like Game of the Year, because people know, even just from playing it or just from seeing it and reading it and talking about it, how much community backed support they have, and just how much time and effort and love was put into the game. And I think that's just such an important factor, especially in the sort of the time that we're in, where we get so many like AAA games where they have to bring out day one patches because half the game's broken. And it shouldn't be the norm. That shouldn't be the norm. And like sort of like Baldur's Gate 3 is like now the exception, because it's a game made with love and attention, and it took its time. And you know, just imagine if the rest of the game sort of followed suit doing that. You know, the quality of games would improve massively.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit, but when a bunch of video game reviewers were like, "Don't expect this to be the norm from now on. This was an outlier. Baldur's Gate. We're never gonna get one for another 10
That
years.
is
Don't get your hopes up.
So
Continue
defensive.
to buy our $60 game."
Oh my Lord!
Crazy.
That was
We won't complain about that.
That was a
anymore,
bad
but
look by the devs who.
It was.
Yeah.
It was bad.
That's not good.
They're like, don't expect us to try.
Yeah, basically. It's like,
Oh, you see those guys that tried over there? They're weird. No, that's not normal.
It's impossible to do that.
honestly.
Just while we're talking about some of like the branching experiences that you can have in Baldur's Gate, Gobs, what is so I've obviously seen a little bit of the game on TikTok for what people go through and experience. What would you say is your favorite random experience or event that happened to you? I've seen a lot of different gameplay of people have shown. I'm sure this maybe maybe it didn't happen to you apparently, but I saw a bunch of TikToks about like people would go up to a squirrel and they had the option of kicking the squirrel, and like that was just like so random and out of nowhere. You wouldn't expect that normally. What I know that's a rough question, because you know you have to delve into your
Surely in 300 plus hours
and
there
I'm
was
sure
some
there's a
random
lot of
stuff
crazy
happen.
stuff that happened. Yeah.
I don't even know.
Can you think of one that was good though?
Well, I mean, there's nothing that weird about it, but so something I did one thing different that I had never done before.
Okay.
And all of my hundreds of hours playing, right? And it was in the very beginning. There's a cave you go into. There's a owl bear in there.
Right. Just like the regular 5e starting campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a mother owl.
Carry on. No.
Yeah.
There's a mother owl bear and a cub.
Okay.
And if you would always kill the owl bear, right? And then you just move on and go fight the goblin camp or whatever. And for some reason, I never noticed this, but after killing the owlbear, and then you go to a goblin camp later, it's in there. And I had gone through this goblin camp over and over again. I just never looked close enough. But essentially, you can save that owlbear cub, and then it follows you around the rest of the game.
I heard about that.
And I didn't know that for so long.
Yeah, no, because why would you?
But there's like an interaction with those goblins that you then have to, they called it chicken chasing before, which is you're trying to get chickens through a maze.
Okay.
But instead, the owlbear came because it was hungry and it ate all their chickens. So now the owlbear's there, and then you have to get it to go through the maze, and then they try to kill it, and then you end up just saving it at the end, and it shows up at your camp way later. And I just never done that for so long.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so it's just tons of interactions like that. Like, there's stuff like that throughout the entire game. It's crazy.
That's so cool. It's like excited. I'm sure there's like tons of like subtle things, like you say, you don't even notice that go on.
Definitely.
It just shows the level of detail and stuff that Larian Studios done for this game. And I was just thinking, like, just on what we were talking about a minute ago, is that it just reminded me of how all the other AAA, like the ones that end up crapping on a game like this. Like it tends to, it happened for the Game of the Year last year as well, because it happened with Elden Ring, and they were saying don't expect this, like, you know, you shouldn't expect this type of game, like this level for like every game. It's just interesting how it seems to happen for every game that just really tries to do a lot. You know,
oh, if it tries, it might succeed. You
know what I mean? It's just. Oh, it's nuts.
And Jax, just to let you know, an owlbear is exactly what it sounds like. It is a bear that is also an owl. So, just so you know that.
It doesn't have wings, though.
It does. Oh, can it fly?
I was about to say, can it fly?
They can glide.
So. Yeah, they can glide.
So
they're too heavy.
That means no.
It's basically a bear with a big owl.
Not technically, but they can jump real high.
Yeah, they can jump high.
Words can turn into an owlbear.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. Owlbears are dangerous. Okay, so I think we are nearing the end of the podcast. So I think, Jax, we should talk about this, the Game of the Year stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you want to start us off, Jax?
Yeah. Well, firstly, Gobs, I presume, you might have already mentioned it, but I think that you think that Baldur's Gate 3 should be Game of the Year. And so tell us, out of the other, let's say the contenders, even though, let's bear in mind that the Golden Joystick Awards have already happened, and Baldur's Gate 3 kind of swept home a large number of those awards as well already. But for the Video Game Awards, there was Spider-Man 2, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Alan Wake 2, Super Mario Wonder, and I'm forgetting the one in the middle.
The one in the middle? Hold on, wait. Do you want me to pull
Baldur's Gate 3? That might just be the one that I'm forgetting.
The one that the one
the one we're talking about. Yeah. If there's another one, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so why do you think that Baldur's Gate 3 should win it over those other games?
If I'm gonna be honest, they should just win it because of how much effort they put in. And like, I've never played a game that it is so very obvious that the people who made it cared as much as the people playing it, I guess. Because as somebody who loves Dungeons and Dragons, going into it, I was skeptical initially. Like, my friend was trying to get me to get early access way before I did. And I was like, no, I've played other ones that were Dungeons and Dragons. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be good. And then I actually played it, and I was like, wow, this is essentially what I've always wanted from a video game. It is. They cared so much, and they just deserve to win every single award that they're up for, I think.
I remember when you first started playing it, you called me up and you said, "This is my life. This is my life now." And I was like, What do you mean? Are you okay? What's that mean? You're like, "No, this is just who I am now. I am the Baldur's Gate guy."
Yeah, I think my exact quote was, "I'm going to live in this world now."
And like I think I don't know, it was just fun to see because like it's been a while since you've had that joy from a video game, and I feel like that's why Baldur's Gate is gonna win because a lot of people share that sentiment with you, where it's like I have not been this psyched and this joyful, and I've never gotten this much like happiness from a video game in a long time.
Since I was a kid, basically.
Oh
That's
wow!
crazy.
See, that is saying something.
Yep.
And I think if just looking at like some of the other titles, because obviously I'm coming as someone who hasn't played Baldur's Gate 3, out of those 5 or 6, 5 I think, I've only played Resident Evil 4 Remake, that was the other one, and Tears of the Kingdom. And whilst I thought the Resident Evil 4 Remake was a fantastic game, like I loved it, I don't think that I think Baldur's Gate 3 should win it as well, and that's coming from me who hasn't even played it. Just because, like you say, I think it is a game that has spent so much time. It's the community support and the devs who have taken the time to like listen and appreciate what the community is saying to make the game better. And you just feel that with a lot of the other games, like that level of commitment and stuff, it's not there. I'm not saying that's the be all end all for a game of the year at all. You know, I think back a few years, and I think Breath of the Wild, how that changed open world games, I think that absolutely deserved it. And I'm sitting there going, Tears of the Kingdom, like it's the gameplay mechanics and how it managed to transform what Breath of the Wild was to what Tears of the Kingdom is remarkable. But I still don't think between that and Baldur's Gate it should win it. And Resident Evil 4 Remake, you know, we can get onto if a remake should ever win Game of the Year or not. That's one thing. But I absolutely love that game. I just don't think that it should win it over Baldur's Gate 3 for me. I mean, SP, what are your thoughts?
I don't have much more to add on to that apart from echoing exactly what you guys said. It was just that I think that everyone enjoyed it, and whoever, you know, when a game breaks the mold of like, essentially it's almost hit like regular pop culture status to the point where like non-gamers have taken notice of it because it's so popular. And when it gets to that point, I mean, not saying that that a game of the year needs to get to that point either, like you said, Jax. Yeah. I don't think there should be one set standard, one set rule as in regards to why a game should win. But I think that's just another thing that needs to be taken into account when deciding, oh my god, this game is the best thing that happened to us this year. So, I don't know. I just think if if this many people are happy about it, and, you know, it's got different aspects in regards to like casual players can play it, people that are really into strategy games can go all out, people that have played D&D, people that have not played D&D can get into it, and the fact that like if it was like $60, like the point of that you can get so many infinite hours out of it compared to the price amount also is huge, because like right now like AAA games, you can beat a AAA game in 20 hours. Like, I don't know. Most of them are you don't get your money's worth all of the time for it. Baldur's Gate, I think it's safe to say that you're going to get more than your money's worth for the amount of content that you have to play. So,
that's probably part of it as well. They probably could have locked a decent chunk of it. Gobs, tell me if I'm wrong. They could have locked a decent chunk behind a paid DLC and slapped on an extra 30, you know?
They could have, yeah.
They could have, and they didn't, you know?
No, I would say, like, what I got for my money, best thing I bought the entire year. Maybe my entire life.
I love that.
And that's saying a lot.
I got a house.
Yeah, it's saying a lot.
Yeah, a house.
Baldur's Gate 3 is higher than the house.
They're pretty much the same.
I love that.
I think
we have one more question. Come on,
we've got one more question.
We've got to know. Come on, it was their whole like marketing strategy. The bear.
It was a good idea.
It's a great strategy.
It was a good strategy.
It absolutely worked. That's part of how it got sort of some mainstream attention as well.
Yeah.
So how did you get on with the bear?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
What? You have 20 characters. Not one of them was interested in the bear?
No, unfortunately, I know.
That's disappointing.
I know. You know, I don't go for the druids, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, those weird nature guys, huh? That's not your style?
No.
Yeah.
Each to their own, eh?
I guess building on top of that, who is your favorite waifu in the game? Who is it, or you know, if you're not, you don't want to. Who is your favorite character? Who is your favorite character, or the most character that you related to or enjoyed?
I would argue Karlach, just because she's the most likable, I think.
Who is the demon lady Jax? I'm sure
Yep.
you've seen her at least.
I think I know who you're talking about, yeah.
She's one main character, so
Yep.
yeah. Why?
She's the most likable one, right? And what she wants from her storyline is very reasonable. And you're just like, okay, I want to help you more than any of these other people around me.
Yeah.
Like, so one's story is that he got a broken heart because a god doesn't want to be with him anymore.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
And he's just all mopey. You got one guy who's got daddy issues. You got one person who's like hyper focused on their almost not religion, but it's like their like community essentially, like overzealousness,
Yeah.
right? And then you got Karlach who's like, I just don't want to go back to hell anymore. I want to open a bar.
That's her dream.
That's her dream.
Oh god, okay, she would be my favorite. No, that's so easy. We can do that now.
She's also the best fighter out of the entire group, and you're like, you're just gonna keep. You're gonna stick around. Let's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so.
okay. What about Asterion? Come on.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna ask about that.
I forgot about Asterion.
Wait, yeah, which one of the people you described was Asterion?
I forgot about him. So Asterion's just the revenge-driven vampire boy.
Right, he's
Yeah.
a vampire.
Yeah.
For people that he's the white hair guy who's all over the marketing. With the
He's-
bear
yeah.
as well.
He's the husbando that all the ladies playing the game are going for. You know, that's what I heard anyway.
I mean, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Everybody likes him. I don't really know why.
Point is, there's a character for everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's what you can take out of that. Oh my gosh. Well, I think those are all the questions we have.
I have one final question.
Oh,
that's
you do?
Unrelated
Yes, go
to
ahead,
Baldur's
Jack,
Gate 3.
please. Oh,
Gobs, I don't know if we were recording at the time or not, but you said you don't think that a remake... Did you say you don't think a remake
Oh, we're
should
going
necessarily
back to
win
that,
Game of the Year? I just want to talk about it real quick.
sure.
So
go
come on,
ahead,
break it down. Come on. If
Oh,
a
why?
remake is that good, and it's not a remaster, it's not just graphical updates. It's changing the nature of the game, albeit the story will inherently be the same, if not similar, to whatever the original was.
Yeah, I guess my thoughts on that is remakes shouldn't be able to get Game of the Year specifically because it's not an original idea, right? So essentially they took something that already existed and had a chance at winning Game of the Year once already.
That's an excellent point.
And, you know, if they didn't, then it lost. Why should they get it again later? It's not an original idea. They're just
It's
redoing
like a reroll,
thing.
baby.
Yeah. I think remakes, especially the Resident Evil ones, are fantastic. But I don't think they should ever get Game of the Year, I guess.
Also, like it's just
That's a very fair point. I gotta be honest.
Yeah,
'Cause
I feel like that's not even a hard take at all.
No.
but-
I think a lot of people generally feel that. Like a lot of people were saying it shouldn't be in the running, and I'm biased. I'm a Capcom guy. I love Resident Evil, and I don't know. I think for me, maybe it's the focus on the gameplay and how the remake changed a lot of the story, whilst inherently, like you say, it is arguably it's not an original idea because it is from start to finish. It is still it, but it's just changed it in a different way. So you bring up a very good point, and I can't actually argue too much with it, which is really frustrating.
I don't know.
But it's kind of fair. But I would still say I would prefer it in the Game of the Year running rather than Super Mario Wonder. Sorry, Mario fans.
I think it deserves to be in the running.
Is there anything that you think should be in there that's not, though? Any other games, actually? Because I'm trying to think, and you know me, I play every game late, so you know, I'm on Elden Ring this year.
I know what my game of the year is, and it did not come out this year, so.
Is it Silk Song?
Is it RuneScape?
Silk Song's not out.
I know, but that's what
not RuneScape.
Forgive me.
You'll have to find out when we do our episode, right, Jax?
Okay. Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Make sure
you want me to give spoilers?
Make sure you've done your submissions by then. That is going to do it. Fantastic. That is going to do it for this really special episode where we have a guest, which is
You're a first guest. Did I tell you that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
You're the first one.
Yes.
That's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Let us know how we did.
Yeah. Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, why don't you rate us on your platform that you're listening to? 5 stars would be preferable. Follow us on YouTube and anywhere else that you can find fine podcasts. Gobs, do you have anything to plug? You're not on the internet.
No.
Do you have any last words to say about anything?
Play Baldur's Gate.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
See you later.
Thank you for listening. I respect you for not being on the internet, by the way. I was like, that must be so good for your mental health.